About 2 weeks ago, I made a video on something that I see it's unfolding before our very eyes. It was using abuse and violence as a form of entertainment. And this was found in 2 Samuel 2, when Abner, who was the commander of Saul's army, he placed Saul's son Ishbosheth on the throne to be a rival king against David. And so he's trying to end the war between the house of David and the house of Saul, which he is perpetuating by putting Ishbosheth on the throne as a puppet king. And so he called Joab, David's nephew and also the commander of David's army later on. And he tells them, oh, let's bring 12 men from each side so that they can face each other in a dual match. And I've already touched on this, how that worked. Usually they would face each other, one from Saul, one from David. And so it would be 12 of them on one side, 12 on the other side. They would be facing each other. They would thrust their dagger into each other's stomach, and whoever is still standing is the winner. At the end, they would count how many of David's men died and how many of Saul's men died. And if there were more people on David's side that were alive, then David's side would have won. However, this was a failure. This was a failure because all 24 men, 12 from David, 12 from Saul, they're facing each other. They did the motion at the same time and they all died, all 24 of them. These were young men. And the sinister part about it is that Abner said, let's have some of these young men get up and play and fight hand in hand in front of us. And I've already touched on this. The word is sahak. It means to play. It means it's a sport. It means to laugh. So he wants to laugh about, he wants to be entertained by these 12 men, young men. He thinks this is entertainment. He wants to laugh. He wants to play. He thinks this is a joke. And how is this different from what is happening? How is this different from the Epstein files that have been released? And when we see that 13-year-old girls, when we see that boys were involved, when we see that these politicians, current president of the United States, Prince Andrew, this lady from the royal family of Norway, all these celebrities, actors, actresses, singers, Jay-Z, all of these people are being named in this file. And we know that the victims were young girls. The victim were kids. These people, they just wanted to be entertained. The Diddy parties, R. Kelly, going after young kids. These people just wanted to be entertained. To them, this was just, they have so much money, they have so much power, and this violence that they're doing in front of each other against these kids, this violence is bonding them together. And so now they're being exposed. But then we're not doing anything about it. Why is Trump still president? Why has he not been arrested? And he already got 30 something felonies under his belt that he hasn't been arrested for. And it's just racking up. When are we going to do something about it? And my heart goes out to these kids. And even their own parents should be investigated and they should be going to jail if they have anything to do with this. Because there's no way that these parents are not feeding their kids into that kind of system and trafficking their own kids. For what? For fame, for money, for power? Again, that is not so different from what Abner did. From what Abner and Joab did by bringing these young boys to fight in front of them as a way to be entertained, as a way to play, as a way for them to laugh. I want to be entertained. I want to laugh. I want to have a good time. How is this entertaining? So now these kids, they get to grow up and they are scarred for life. They are scarred for life. So again, there's nothing new under the sun. Nothing new under the sun. Politicians, people in power, so-called leaders, they all just are using violence. They resort to violence as a form of entertainment. Because going out to eat, traveling, being able to afford tickets to a sports game, that's not enough. That's not enough. They actually need to abuse kids. They need to abuse women. They need to abuse young boys so that they can feel better about themselves. We should all be outraged. And everyone should be held responsible.